Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Speakers for Schools Industry Spotlight Talk. I hope you've had a lovely day so far. We're delighted that you're here joining us today. I'm Sarah, your host, and you'll be hearing from one of our industry insiders today. An industry insider is someone currently working in industry, living out the experiences that come with building a career. We have up to an hour for this session with a presentation from our speakers before moving into a time of Q&A. So questions can be submitted from now. The box is underneath the stream. If you scroll down a little bit on your screen, you can find that there. We'd love to hear from you, so please do put your questions in and we will share them with our speakers later. Any issues that you're experiencing, let us know via the same box. We'll do our best to try and support you there also. So today we're hearing from Nanette and Molly from Montfort University, who are going to take us for a journey through the world of design and footwear. So let me welcome in Nanette and Molly. Hello.
Hi everyone.
Good to see you. How are you both doing today?
Good, thank you.
Amazing. So I'm going to pass over to you. I'll get your slides ready in a second.
Hi everyone. Just a quick introduction. So my name is Nanette Westberg-Brown and I am the Programme Course Leader for BA Honours Footwear Design here at Montfort University. And I'm joined by my lovely student Molly.
Hi, I'm in my third year of footwear design, so just a few weeks to go for me. I've done 3 years, so yeah, I feel like I can speak quite well about this topic.
Yeah, she's doing fantastic, everyone. So as Sarah mentioned, please send us some questions. We're more than happy to answer them as we go or even towards the end. So some of you may know what you want to do in your future, which is great. And some of you may have considered going to university, and some of you have maybe decided against it. For those of you who are perhaps undecided and are maybe just exploring your options, today I'm going to talk to you about some of the options and opportunities available to you if you did choose to continue studies and the kinds of careers that this might lead on to. So on the next slide, we've got a short video, and this will introduce you to some of the fashion and textiles subjects here at Montfort University. Amazing, I love that video. So I'm just going to whittle through the next few slides just to give you an overview of some of the programs that we have available and also touch on some of the points that you might be picked up on in the video. So the first course that we have is fashion design, and with all of our programs, they are 3 years long, but you can choose to turn that into 4 years if you do a placement year. A placement year takes place in between your second and final year of study, and generally they are paid. So you get to be paid to work in industry whilst still being supported in education during your time at university. So fashion design, from the image on the screen, you might recognise that from the video. There are a number of different options that you can choose within fashion design. You might want to specialise in women's wear, menswear, knitwear, outerwear, you name it. They cover everything from pattern cutting all the way through to physical manufacture. And in fact, a lot of our programs do have that element of theory and practice together. So if we can have the next slide, please. Oh, it's not moving on. There we go. The next one is textiles design. So again, a 3-year program, and you can choose to specialise in print, mixed media, construct, which is knit and weave. The next one is fashion textile design. So it's not fashion design, it's not textile design, but it is creating the textiles to then be used within the fashion industry. Our next one is fashion communication and styling. So this is a relatively new program, but this covers everything from social media to how you communicate what the fashion industry involves. Next, we've got one of our specialist programs, Contour Fashion. And this is a unique program for Montfort University, and this is anything that is contoured to the body. So lingerie, corsetry, swimwear, nightwear, sportswear. Our graduates are highly in demand from this program. So if we can move to the next one, which will give you a quick overview of footwear design. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in depth after I've gone through all of the programs. But again, you get to specialise here, so you can do ladies wear, men's wear, children's wear, bespoke, and performance footwear. Next, we've got fashion buying. Oh, technical difficulties. That's fine. We'll come back to footwear. So on fashion buying, there's 2 different ways that you can take this. You can specialise in design or merchandising. So if you've ever wondered how things end up in stores, generally it's through a buyer. We also have fashion marketing. And this is a new program for us for next year. So again, this is how you market products within the fashion industry, so more the business side of things. This slide here just gives you a quick overview of the School of Fashion and Textiles. So you can see we've got a lot of academics and technical instructors, and all programs are supported by specialist staff and technical demonstrators. We have a number of home and international students, and we have a big research team, so a lot of the teaching that we do is research informed. So if we can have the next slide, please. Oh, this is fantastic. So the legendary fashion designer, Zandra Rhodes, has very generously donated her archive material to De Montfort University, and it's housed in the archives of our library. There's pink shelves and everything. It's amazing. And our students can go and access this. They can see all of her work, get lots of inspiration. And you can often find Sandra wandering around DMU. She comes every year to see us. She loves going and speaking to students. So she's a true inspiration to us. On the next slide, we've got another video, and this just gives you a bit of an overview of some of the facilities that we've got on offer. So that was our amazing video that showed you some of our facilities, and hopefully that gave you a little flavour of what our campus looks like and some of the things that you might be able to make use of if you decided to come and join us at university. Now, the main reason for the talk today is to talk to you about footwear design. And the reason that I wanted to speak to you about that is because footwear is a very specialist, niche subject area. As of September, we are going to be the only single honours footwear design degree here in the UK, which means that our graduates and indeed our upcoming students are going to be highly in demand. So the fashion industry is huge. There is lots of different avenues that you can go into within it, but footwear is highly specialist. And that's because there are a lot of intricacies that go into making a shoe. And sometimes we don't even think about that. We just chuck them on our feet. But every product that you use has been designed, it's been tested, and it's been manufactured. And there's a lot of processes involved in that and a lot of people that make that happen. Within the program here, we take our students through everything. So students often come to us and they've had no prior experience of studying footwear design. They might just like shoes, and that's absolutely fine. That's what we're here for. We're going to teach you everything you need to know. So everything from sketching, creating patterns, and actually making your own shoes. So all of the images that you see on the slides now, they've all been made by students. We won't make anything for you. So if you enjoy making, that's great. You're going to get your hands dirty. You'll learn more by doing it yourself. And we cover everything from ladies' shoes, men's shoes, children's, performance footwear, so sportswear, and bespoke orthopedic. We work on a number of live projects every year, and these are with big brand names. So to give you an idea, in the last few years, we've worked with people like Adidas, Dr. Martens, Jimmy Choo. I could go on. The list is, I mean, it's pretty exhaustive. We do work with a lot of people in the industry. And yeah, this can lead to students getting internships, work placement opportunities, and sometimes even full-time employment by the time that they have finished their studies. We have a number of sector-leading facilities. So some of them you saw in the video previously, but we have our own workshops within the footwear department. So these are highly specialist for footwear design. So if we can move on to the next slide, please. So this slide shows that I could sit here and tell you how amazing we are. This slide shows what our students think of us. So all of the lines in pink are students from within the DMU Fashion and Textiles School, and all of the lines in black are the sector average. So you can see that our students have placed us slightly above the sector average. And for footwear design, we've got a 95% overall satisfaction rating from the National Student Survey. Can we have the next slide, please? So as with a lot of the programs within the programs here at DMU, we teach in a block format. And that means that you're only going to study one project at a time. So you've not got multiple deadlines. You can focus all of your energies and your dedications and your inspiration into one project. You get 4 blocks a year, and each block is worth 30 credits. In between those, you're getting some enhancement weeks, and all of the modules combine theory and practice. So your sketching, your research, mixed with your experimentation, testing, pattern cutting, and actually making your shoes. All of the people that work on the program, so all of the lecturers and the technical staff, we all come from industry. So we know exactly what is expected from you, and we can help to prepare you for your career in the footwear industry. So if you're a visual learner like I am, I like to see it all laid out. This shows you how the block system works. So you can see 4 blocks in your first year, 4 blocks in your second year, and 3 blocks in your final year. And that's because that last block is a double block because you work on your final collection, which is what Molly's doing at the minute. Within each of your blocks, we try to cover everything from trends, patterns and prototyping, CAD, whether that's 2D or 3D. We take you through both. And we'll help you to progress and develop your work as you go. So the next few slides just give you a bit of an overview of what you might expect to study with us within each year. So within your first year of study, again, we're not expecting you to come to us with any prior experience. So we're going to take you through all of the fundamentals. We'll work on sketching, balance, proportions, how you research, how you put together a customer profile, how you create a mood board. Some of you might be able to do this already, and that's fantastic because you can build on the skills that you've already got. But we'll just help and guide you along the way. We'll start to get you to working on actually making some shoes. And within each block, you make a shoe. So by the time you leave us, you've probably made on average around about 14 shoes. We also cover some of the theory and fashion history. So a lot of our work is practical work. We will get you to write an essay every year, which is the bit nobody likes. But it's important because it helps to contextualize your learning. So if we can move on. So year 2 is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. We have a very specialist module all about bespoke footwear, where you'll get given a client and you will essentially design and make shoes for that particular client. Now they might have some ailments with their feet, so everything from things like bunions, high arches, or maybe it's something that you've experienced, and we'll actually get you to learn how to make the orthotics to make your shoes more comfortable to wear. We then move into our live projects, and we do these every year, but with different brands. And this is to get you used to responding to a brief, much like you would in industry. And it also exposes you and your work so that you get live feedback from the people that are working in industry. It prepares you for life after your studies. We also introduce you to 3D CAD. So we're building on all of the skills and knowledge that you've gained with us throughout the program. If we can move on to the next slide. And then we're into your final year. And this is where it gets super exciting because we open the brief right up. And by this point, we've exposed you to all the different aspects of footwear. You get to choose which pathway you take it. So you'll get a brief. And if you want to do all of your projects based on sports footwear, you can. If you want to do all children's footwear, you can. You can do a mix of things. We get you to do things that are very conceptual. We get you to enter national and global competitions, which gets you and your work seen by the people that need to see it. And then in block 3 and 4, that's when you work on your final collection and you produce a collection of 3 shoes. All students get to showcase their work at the degree show, which is on campus. But we also take you and your work on a bit of a roadshow. So we exhibit at things like New Designers in London, Graduate Fashion Week, and any other exhibitions that pop up along the way. So if we go on to the next slide, it will give you an idea. Oh, it's not moving on. There we go. This will give you an idea of the sorts of careers that you might be able to go on to. So most of our students go on to be designers, but some of them want to go on a different route. And you can see here some of where the students that we've had previously have gone on to. We were also we also attained 100% in highly skilled work from the graduate student outcome, which is amazing. So that goes to show that when you graduated from us, chances are you're going to go on to the most amazing career and have the best job ever. I'm not biased at all. I mentioned our live partnerships, and they're super important. So you can see on the screen there some of the logos of some of the brands that we've been working with. We work with all sorts of people. These are just some of the brands that we've worked with in the last few years. But it's really important to take part in these live projects. Like I said, your work gets seen by the people working there. Quite often they result in internships or work experience, which is amazing because you get to go and experience what it's like working with those teams. We get some of our alumni students in to come and speak and provide guest talks to our students. And quite often they will do mentorship with current students. But everything is designed in the curriculum to make sure that when you graduate, you're deemed industry ready. So there's a few opportunities on the screen there that I've already mentioned. And if we have a look at the next slide, it's actually a video that explains and gives you a taste of what a live project could be like.
We've never had a live project like this before.
It's been amazing. Really like my course.
It was a very proud moment.
It's really exciting.
Once in a lifetime experience, it could be life-changing.
So this is an amazing sponsored project between Gravity Sketch, Adidas and Montfort University that's really allowing our students to test those innovative boundaries of design. These sorts of opportunities are fantastic for students. It's going to equip them with a brand new skill set that they'll be able to take into industry and use throughout their entire careers.
We had 6 weeks on the project with a group of design from Adidas and the Gravity Sketch mentors. It's amazing how much they learned in 6 weeks. Today we had the final review with the students. We showed the work from the 8 best designers actually from the university. Really happy with the outcome. It took very long, to get here and to make everything possible, but at the end, it's outstanding.
We've done mentorship and meeting everybody and week-to-week check-ins. Everybody was very excited to show the presentations and the work was incredibly good.
It was really nice to see how people present themselves and their project and their thought process. And
The work on Gravity Sketch was really impressive.
Very excited to be part of this program. It's super interesting for us to find new talent in the design space. Always intrigued to see how far we can stretch the brand and how far we can stretch our concepts, and definitely blown away by the levels of thinking and the different, angles the students have taken to come up with new ideas.
Everybody's gone above what we ever expected this project to be, and it's a lot to take on everything that Adidas is and everything that you learn in Gravity Sketch and come out and do a presentation to big dogs at the end of it. So for the students to pick up as much as they did in 6 weeks is fantastic.
No, I think for us, we are always looking for new inspiration for our team to take a next step, and I think that the team really, captured our imagination with the concepts they worked on. They were probably a little bit nervous, but I think they all did amazingly well with how they presented their content, their thinking. It was real, right? It was real consumer thought-provoking ideas. Yeah, there was designs that were out there. There was designs that were quite close to something that, with a little polish, would be very close to what we'd go to market with.
This project has allowed me to interact with people within the industry, talk to people who know the way of working as a footwear designer, and coming here, especially to the headquarters, you can really see how it works and what goes on a day-to-day basis.
Honestly, the best part has been just working with the Adidas team, having that connections. It's great, to have your designs seen by people of that caliber. It's crazy.
I'm really, really grateful, to be fair. It's just it's been a really honor.
It was definitely an amazing experience to be able to present in front of the team, especially Torben as well. And I think that I've learnt skills that I can definitely take forwards into the future.
For us at Gravity Sketch, we learn so much from doing these projects. We're always really impressed by how students take the software
really push it further than we expect it and try out different workflows and test different ways of working with it.
No, I think the different formats of the team working on Gravity Sketch and also showing us with the headset the models was a great way to look at it. It was fun. I think, you know, to see the product in that way and to interact with the actual person who designed it was kind of cool, that you could talk with them and see the 3D renders at the same time. It was definitely a good way to kind of like convince us that their design and their thinking behind it was super interesting.
It's for them, it's easier to show actually what we want to do, right? You have the three-dimensional model, you can easily apply colors, materials, you have the story boards behind, and then you have this impression that you're really in a room. I think it's a new way of working.
I believe there's a huge opportunity for us to bring design technology into the overall process, to push the boundaries and showing us a new way of how we can be much more explorative and much faster also in developing new ideas.
I had no experience with Gravity Sketch before this project, but I think now that I've done the training sessions and obviously used it to create my designs, I think that it's definitely something I'll be using going forwards in future projects.
It's the easiest software that you can, 3D software that you can use. It just like kind of opens up a different part of the creativity in your brain.
So with Gravity Sketch, I mean, because it's 3D, it can be incorporated with everything. So from like wireframes, surfacing, to 3D printing an actual sole. So I mean, it could be used in pretty much every step of the design process for any shoe.
It opens up more opportunity to create a better shoe.
Gravity Sketch will definitely be a big part of the future of footwear design.
We believe when the DMU and the Gravity Sketch project designers come with the skills, they will immediately step in and also can spread the skill with the other designers, and then the designers learn way faster.
So this program is very important for students. They get to learn how the footwear industry works and work alongside designers from Adidas and learn the skills they need for going into the industry.
I would just like to say a huge thank you to both Gravity Sketch and Adidas for their help and support throughout this project. It has been phenomenal and we are so grateful and so excited.
I think the skills that I've learned through Gravity Sketch and also the experience of presenting in front of a well-known brand will definitely help me be more confident going forwards in applying for footwear design roles.
We've never had a live project.
How amazing was that? Now, I can't guarantee we'll do industry projects like that every year because we work with different brands. However, the slide on screen now gives you an idea of where some of our students have gone on to work. And you probably recognise quite a lot of names on there. It's pretty impressive. But these are the sorts of connections that we have, and we make sure that our students network to be able to get connections so that they're able to, you know, follow on from their studies and have really successful careers in the footwear industry. They take with them the really strong industry links. Like I said, they might have done an internship. Even if you haven't, we're going to help you with your portfolios, with your CV, and even with interview skills. So we're going to make sure that you're fully equipped for your future careers. There's two students that I'd like to highlight. So the next slide will show you one of those students. She's an alumni student, Adina, and you might recognise from the photograph she was actually in the video because she currently works at Adidas Originals. So she studied with us and graduated in 2018. She joined us without any experience. She did fine art and she worked in a shoe shop. And that's why she liked shoes so much. We taught her everything. We took her through the whole curriculum. And following a live project, she ended up doing work experience with New Balance. After she graduated, she then went and did, she actually had full-time employment. She was taken on by New Balance. So she worked for New Balance for a few years before then moving over to Adidas. And she works as a colour and materials designer. So when we did the project with Adidas, Adina was involved. and she became one of the mentors working alongside the students participating in the project. She's now helping some of those students as a mentor as they begin their job search and getting their first foot on the ladder in the footwear industry. So that's Adina's story. The next student we have is Bobby. Bobby has a bit of a different background. He'd done an apprenticeship before he joined us. Again, he went through the entire curriculum, and Bobby now works as an assistant innovation footwear designer at Dr. Martens. So you can see some of the work that Bobby produced on the screen there. And actually, I'm going to bring Molly in now because Molly has a bit of a similar story, and that she had a little bit of footwear experience before she joined us.
Yeah, so I did a similar footwear apprenticeship, but it was at Doc Martens, and I worked there for 1 year on the apprenticeship, followed by another year working in the leather department. So I had a little bit of experience before coming to uni, but it wasn't design experience, it was more the hands-on manufacturing side. So the course has been really interesting to see from actually the other end where you're manufacturing it from your spec sheet and you're on the production line to now learning how to actually design and seeing something go from concept to product. So it's been really interesting to start with that experience, but everyone else in my year, there's a couple of people that have had some experience, but no two students come with any of the same experience. So it's interesting because then it forms how you design because you have different experiences to each other. So yeah, it was really interesting to come with a little bit of experience, but I still felt like I was brand new to the whole subject when I started university.
And super excited to get started in your future job.
Yeah.
Amazing. If we can have the next slide. So one thing I would say to anybody who's a little bit unsure about what they want to do moving forward, if we haven't convinced you today on footwear design, which I hope we have, if you'd like to find out more, please come and visit an open day. Even if it's not footwear you're interested in, if there's something that you want to find out more about, whether that's at the Montfort University or somewhere else, my best advice is to attend an open day because you get to see for yourself what that might involve, and you get to ask the questions that you want, meet the staff, see the facilities. So my best advice to you is to attend open days, which are on throughout the year. And on the next slide, there is a little QR code. So if you are interested, you can stay in touch with us and we can let you know when the next open day is, invite you along and send you some further information. So that's the end of our slide deck, and hopefully we've given you a good overview of what footwear design at De Montfort University might be like. But if anybody has any questions, please feel free to get in touch.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was so good. And apologies for the glitches there throughout, but yeah, it was really great. And I'm even inspired to look more into design. Yeah, you know, I might. I got a question for you before we get into some questions that we have here.
Yeah.
And this is for both of you. So what type of footwear do you prefer to design the most? Is it a boot? Is it a heel? Is it a trainer? Like, what's your go-to?
Molly, I'll let you answer that one first.
Well, I think from working to a brief, you're told what you kind of have to do. You're kind of told like what you need to design. So I think if I was to just think of what I prefer to do, I'd probably say like women's styles. But once you get a brief, you really get invested into like the brand, into the concept. So I think it's more the concept that's inspiring than the style of shoe. But I'd say women's if I had to choose.
And I think a lot of students come to us and maybe they think at the very start of the program that they only want to do one type of footwear, but because we expose you to all different types of footwear, that might change as you go through the program. So I'm actually an alumni student of the program myself. So I studied the footwear design program before I started teaching on it, and I wanted to do children's footwear when I first started. But by the time I went through the program, I actually ended up being a ladies' footwear designer, and I went off into industry and worked for the likes of Kurt Geiger and Aldo. And I did an internship with Alexander McQueen when I was still at uni. So I got lots of experience. So I do have a bit of a soft spot for ladies' shoes just because that's what I used to do.
Similar answers there. I love that. It's great. We have a question here from a student. They're asking, what is a typical day in the life like for you as a student? I know you mentioned about the blocks and things like that, but what does it look like? I guess, Molly, you could answer this as you're kind of living it, aren't you?
Well, it really depends because in first year you have quite full-on days of learning practical and really building the foundations of how you're going to make your concepts and your ideas come to life through the next couple of years at university. So in first year you're it's really hands-on and you're building up like a book of what you're learning and showing that you've learned things and how you know what you're doing. And then second year it's more you've got like live projects which you really want to get perfect because industry people are going to be looking at those. So again, it's really like perfecting your skills and making sure that you're like building the perfect prototype and your digital work's looking really good. And third year, it's just so tiring, but you're coming in. There's a lot of hands-on making, but also making sure that everything looks good digitally because this third year basically builds your portfolio, what you're going to be sending to jobs that you want to apply for. So it's really busy, but it's also really exciting because it's your own ideas and it's your own brief, which it makes it more exciting because you're seeing your own ideas, your like dream ideas come to life. But I'd say every day is a long day, but it's really rewarding to see like your creations come to life.
And I think as you progress through the program, you engage in a lot more self-directed learning. So as Molly said, in the first year, we guide you a lot more. It's a lot more structured. But as you progress through, as you're gaining that experience, you engage in a lot more self-directed study so that as you are nearing the end of the program, you are getting more and more prepared for when you join the industry and you know what to expect. You can work independently, you can work collaboratively. And a lot of, Molly will tell you the truth, a lot of the third years pretty much live in the footwear studios at the minute. So they're in first thing in the morning until they're kicked out at the end of the day, and you use it as a sort of a social space. You interact and you share ideas with each other, and somebody will have tried something in a workshop and somebody else might have seen it, and then it encourages everybody to develop and progress their work. And really do, there's such a supportive environment out there as well. They're all really, aren't you? You're really supportive of each other and you're really like, oh, that looks amazing, and have you heard about this, have you done that? So it's a really nice community feel within that as well.
That's one thing I really loved about uni. It's sort of like you see the same people all the time and you just create that little community. Yeah, that's like the best experience ever. I guess ask the same question to you, Nanette. I know that it might be different for your kind of like day in the life, but do you get a chance to design as well, or is it kind of like teaching, and how does it look for you in your role?
Well, because I've come from industry, I am quite used to doing lots and lots of designs a day, but it's not always just design work. It can be putting together specification sheets, technical packs, and thinking about not just how a design looks, but how does that come to life and how would somebody interpret the information. So how would I communicate what I want to be manufactured, and thinking about how you do that. So a day in the life for me at the moment, having worked in industry, is trying to support and guide students so that they understand exactly what's going to be expected of them and what they can do to improve and make sure that when they are in industry, these amazing ideas that they've got, the samples are right first time because they've communicated that information properly, or maybe they've found the correct sources for inspiration, and they've got a really rounded sense of what's going on out there. but like I said, we do have a lot of because we've got so many programs. A lot of our students, they're not just within the footwear workshops. They'll go and interact with students from other programs, and maybe they even live with students from other programs. So that kind of brings in a new flavor within their work. And we have a lot of international students as well, and they bring them with them different ideas and different backgrounds, and we really do encourage students to bring their culture and their heritage with them and to include that within their work. So a day in the life for me is no 2 days are the same, because every student's different. Every student learns differently. And for me, it's just a privilege to watch those students develop and grow and then go off into the big wide world and have these amazing careers and then come back and tell us all about it.
Absolutely. And even with just the kind of the pictures on the slides, you can just see the different personalities and like the designs, and I love that you kind of champion that people can be themselves in their design as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you never know who might buy the shoe, you know?
Exactly. So when we talked about the live projects, obviously they're with brands who they know who their customer base is, and that's why we try and get the students to work with that, so they can understand that you're not always designing a shoe for yourself. You're designing a shoe that's going to be bought by, somebody who needs extra support for their arches in footwear, whatever it might be. But at the same time, you might decide, that you want to take a different pathway, and, maybe you do want to design shoes for Lady Gaga, and they could be really out there and conceptual. Why not? So, yeah, we try and make sure that, there's something for everybody. And by the time you leave us, you've got a better sense of exactly which direction you want to go in. You know how to achieve what you want to achieve, and you're fully supported and guided along the way.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Another question here from a student. They are asking, is it good to work and have your, I guess, your university life? Is it good to have that balance, or do you prefer to step away?
I think it depends on every student's different. So we do have a lot of students that have part-time jobs, and some of them do that for financial reasons. Some of them do that for social reasons. Some students don't have jobs and they focus completely on their studies. And maybe they've joined a club or a society that the wider university has on offer. Every student's different. So I wouldn't say that there's a right or a wrong answer. It depends on the individual student and their circumstances.
And how about you, Molly? Do you work at the same time as studying?
So for first and second year, I had a job that I worked at the weekends, and then into third year, I just work when I go back for the holidays, which I think quite a few people do, just because it can be a little bit hard to balance towards like the end of your 3 years. But the first 2 years, it was fine, and it means you got a bit more freedom. Even on the course, you can buy more materials that are going to be specific to your concept and ideas. But yeah, as Nanette said, it's social, and it's, it brings a different aspect to your lifestyle whilst you're at university.
Awesome, thank you. Another question here, it's a good question. What did you study in school, and was it directly related to what you do now?
So I've done like so many different things until I got to decide to do this. So I actually did travel and tourism at college, and then I was a travel agent. And then after that, I was a dental nurse, and now I'm here. So you really don't, I never thought I'd come to university. So like, I think people that have decided they don't want to go to university that might be watching now, to like keep your options open, because you think like, oh, I don't want to do that for 3 years, or it's not my style. But it's been like the most amazing experience for me. And specifically for the footwear course, you don't particularly need to come with any real experience. You just need to come with like enthusiasm and interest for what you're about to learn. I think that's the most attractive thing as a student, to just be open to learn anything. And like in those videos, it shows how the university has so much to offer, and whilst you're here, you should just use everything you can and attend anything that's offered to you and use all the facilities, because for the most part it's free whilst you're here, and you should just use it. So for like school, I did nothing really goes with me being here. But so if you change your mind or you want to go to university later than you think, you still can, and you don't have to specifically do anything at school for footwear, I don't think, really.
No, and to be honest, a lot of students come to us from different pathways. So some of them do come from a more art and design background, but there's so many decisions that you have to make throughout school of which subjects to choose, and always being asked what you're going to do, what do you want to be, and sometimes you don't have those answers up until right at the very last minute, and that's absolutely fine. You can change your mind, and that's part of your journey, and it's just how you get to where you're eventually going to be. And make mistakes, keep making mistakes, because you learn from them. Well, at least I hope you learn from them. But yeah, make mistakes and grow and develop and try new things. Be curious, ask questions, because that's how you'll figure your own way out and where it is that you're supposed to be. And don't worry if you get things wrong along the way. There's always another opportunity.
Definitely. And I really love that, Molly, your journey has like so many different points, because I think you mentioned as well in the slides about like transferable skills and skills you can kind of like take with you. Like I'm sure you've learned those different things from those different jobs and places in your journey that you can put into now, which is awesome. So thank you for sharing that. And with these talks as well, we do recommend, and we do kind of like shout about other avenues, and university is great. I went to uni, but there's so much out there that you can do. So it's great that you said that if it's not for you, it's not for you, and there's so much more out there. So yeah, thank you for that. Someone has said tips on public speaking. That's all they wrote. So I'm guessing that's probably based off the Adidas video. So like, yeah, any tips on public speaking? I guess with this course you'll have to stand up and present.
You do. So yeah, nobody really likes speaking in front of lots of people. It can be pretty scary and people get nervous. And even when you do it every day, we still get nervous. I would just say tips for public speaking: practice, so that you kind of are aware of the sorts of things that you want to say. Try and make sure that you speak clearly. Engage with the person that you're speaking with, and if it's a big group, try and make as much eye contact as possible. If it's something like this where you're speaking into a camera, just try and be as as open and genuine and real as you possibly can, because I think that comes across. And just remember that you're human at the end of the day, and if you do stutter over your words or you make a small mistake, that's normal, that's natural. Pick yourself up and carry on, and like I said, make mistakes because you learn from them, and it's just experience and practice and keep doing things. You will get better, and it will be for the best.
Some great advice there. How about you, Molly? Have you done like a lot of like public speaking so far in your course?
So I went to the Adidas headquarters in Germany and presented my project, and I think it was scary, and like on paper it was like a really big thing, but because I was presenting my ideas and something I was passionate about, it was much easier to talk about because I know like the subject inside out. So I think usually for public speaking, if you're talking about something that matters to you or a subject you know a lot about, it's actually not as hard as you think, because you're saying what's in your head anyway. It's just that you've got an audience. But yeah, just like being genuine and just try to when you're about 5 minutes in, it's like not that scary anymore. So just like it's more the build up that's more scary than the actual thing. Yeah.
Definitely, I agree with that. It's like the kind of like thoughts and like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And then when you do it, you're like, oh, okay, it's fine.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Another question here. What's your favorite shoe that you designed and why?
Do you want to go for that one, Molly?
I don't know actually, because when I look back, when I've been making my portfolio to apply for jobs, I've been looking at them all like they're all so different. But anything that's pink and girly for me, like anything that's just pretty and really overly feminine, that's usually my favourite thing to do. That's what my final project is mainly about. It's about women's crafts and being overly feminine and not letting that be seen as a weakness. And I just love translating like imagery and concept, like meaning, into something visual. So I'd say just anything pink.
I love that. Random thought. We love taking glitter around here. And Nanette, how about you? What's been your favourite shoe?
Well, I think probably one of my favourite shoes was from my very first job after graduating. I worked for Kurt Geiger, and it was probably the first shoe that I'd designed that went into production and went into store. And I remember I was living in London at the time, and I saw a girl walking down the street wearing the shoes, and it was the most surreal experience and feeling ever that somebody had liked something that came from my head and my ideas. They'd liked it enough to spend money on it and buy it, and was strutting down this. I mean, she looked awesome. The whole outfit, everything, but it was the shoes that I picked up on, and I was so excited. It was a phenomenal moment. So yeah, when you see something that you've designed in a shop, it's a great feeling.
That is amazing. That must be such a cool experience to
It
experience.
is, and then
What
as
kind
you
of shoe was
go
it?
along, and it's
Mm.
something I would recommend to Molly and anybody else, is if you do have things or momentous things like that happen, or something featured in a magazine, start to put together some press clippings, and it can add to your portfolio. And even if you don't always show that, like Molly was saying when she's been putting her portfolio together, as you start to look back, you realize all of these little achievements that you've made and all of these amazing things that have led you to where you are, and it's phenomenal.
It really is, because as you're going along, you can tend to forget what you've done. So that's a really,
Absolutely.
really good idea. And that is so awesome. I definitely can see why that's your favorite shoe. We've got time for a couple more questions. So someone's asked, what is the biggest challenge that you faced in the footwear industry?
Ooh, biggest challenge. I think deadlines are a big challenge because often you don't have as much time as you would like to do your researching and design work, but deadlines are inevitable because obviously we need to meet them to be able to pass on to the next part of the process. Um, Certainly when you get into industry, you're working with people that you've possibly never worked with before. And I don't just mean in the same room as you, I mean, they could be on the other side of the world. So sometimes it's all about that communication and how you best convey your ideas to somebody else. So for me, that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, deadlines they are quite scary. I know, Molly, you're still kind of working on it, but has there been a big challenge for you, I guess, in the course so far, or kind of getting your projects together?
Yeah, I'd say when you're a little bit you're not sure where you're going to go with a brief, the first like week or two can be quite difficult because you're still figuring out what you want to do, and you've got to like show your lecturers what you're working towards and how you're doing, and sometimes you just need a bit of help and a bit of a push in the right direction with what you should do. So I think like any challenges like on the course, you just speak about it, and it does help you along to overcome them. But when I worked in the Doc Martens factory, I'd say deadlines were definitely a big thing because like there'd be huge orders that we'd have to work to get out, and the stress is just higher. Everybody's feeling the same, but I think you're all working towards the same goal, so you just have to come together. It's just about like being open and speaking about how you feel, and usually it will end up being fine in the end.
Yeah, I really love the kind of like theme throughout today of like kind of like your individual self, but also teamwork and community and working together. And that's come up quite a lot. So that's really, really nice to know that you can still be yourself and have your individual kind of input, but you have a support system and a team around you along the way in this industry, which is amazing. So time is running out. One more question, I guess, to end for both of you would be, do you have any like nuggets of wisdom, any bits of advice to leave with our young people watching today? So there could be people watching who love footwear design and want to get into it, or they've maybe just been like inspired today, or they're still not sure. But any bits of kind of like last nuggets of wisdom that you can leave with us today?
I would say keep being curious. The more curious you are, the more questions you'll ask, the more knowledge you'll find out. And whatever pathway you choose, hopefully footwear, because it's great. But even if it's not, whatever you do, whichever direction you take forward, you will get out of it as much as you're willing to put into it. There is people to help and support you along the way, but they can't do it for you. So the more you put forward, the more you'll get in return.
Absolutely.
I would say, don't let your setbacks determine your outcome. So if you've had some ups and downs in your journey, maybe to building up to go into uni or deciding you don't want to go, like, don't let ups and downs determine how successful you'll be, because like with my journey, you go so many different ways, but you end up in something that you want to do, even if it takes a bit longer. And like I was saying earlier, I never wanted to come to uni, but I've come and it was amazing. So even if at this point you're thinking, I never want to go to university, like, you can decide later that you want to, or you can decide you don't want to, and like, that's fine. And don't let people tell you what you should do just because that's what most people do.
What a great way to end today's talk. Thank you so much, Nanette and Molly, for being here. It's been really, really great. And I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our young people have learned a lot too. So thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, that is all we have time for today. It's been an amazing, amazing talk. I hope you feel inspired. Before we finish, there will be a feedback poll going live right now on Slido, so let us know how you felt with today and how you kind of found the session. It will help us better our service to you and inspire you all still. And if you haven't got time to do that today, there'll be a form via email, so look out for that. But see you again soon for another Industry Spotlight talk. It's been great having you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, everyone.